Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are cracking open a pretty hefty stack of sources. They detail this really high-stakes, deeply personal investigation going on in Salem. And honestly, it just proves once again that when it comes to family,
Mm.
well, people will cross just about any line.
Oh, absolutely. And, paternity testing in Salem, it's never just straightforward genetics, is it? It's always tied to these huge, life-altering bombshells. It's practically a town tradition.
Right, so we've got this massive, really complex web here. We're talking identity confusion, possible adoption fraud, and a teenage deception artist who seems to be getting, frankly, more malicious by the day.
Yeah, she really is. And the focus is squarely on baby Tesoro. The infant Ray Fernandez is fostering. He's become kind of known as the firehouse baby.
The firehouse baby, yeah. So our mission today for you listening is basically to give you the shortcut through this whole labyrinth. We need to dissect this shocking DNA revelation, the one that just completely changes the game. And we need to try and get inside the head of the main deceiver here.
Sophia Choi.
And then analyze the pretty extreme measures that two veteran investigators are now taking to dig up the final truth.
And the trigger for all this, the immediate shock that really makes this deep dive necessary, is the news delivered by Dr. Kayla Brady. She confirmed it. Tate Black's DNA. It is definitively not a match for baby Tesoro.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because, wow, this isn't just like a dead end for Tate, is it?
Not at all.
This is the exact moment the whole thing shifts.
Yeah.
It goes from being Tate's personal crisis to looking like an active, potentially criminal conspiracy.
Absolutely. This isn't the end of the story. Like you said, it's just the beginning of something much, much deeper.
All right, so let's focus first on that seismic shift. The big one. The official confirmation. Tate Black is not the biological father of baby Tesoro.
Or Taisto, as some sources call him.
Yeah.
Right, Taisto.
And this confirmation, it's huge scientifically, but we really need to get into the emotional weight of it because, it completely changes everything for Tate, doesn't it?
Oh, totally. The sources really paint a picture of poor Tate just struggling immensely, carrying this huge burden. Fatherhood, guilt, just so much uncertainty over a baby he never even laid eyes on.
Yeah, and he never got to meet the baby, never met the supposed adoptive parents. That lack of closure, that uncertainty, it just cast this massive shadow over his future, didn't it?
Absolutely. And the sources are pretty clear. They attribute that whole situation, that lack of contact, to what they call a sketchy plot. One initially cooked up by Melinda Trass and Sophia Choi.
Okay, sketchy plot.
Yeah.
We need to dig into why it was sketchy because that's where the deception really started, right?
Exactly. Melinda, who was the DA back then,
Yeah.
she was central to that original adoption paperwork, the paperwork linking Tate to the child. And that whole arrangement was just, riddled with ethical issues, maybe even legal ones.
So the foundation was shaky from the get-go.
Completely. That initial deception, whether it was, lying about the baby's gender or who the parents were or how the relinquishment happened, it basically made the whole process fraudulent right from the start.
Which explains why Brady Black, Tate's dad,
Eric Martzel's character, yeah.
why he stayed so suspicious the whole time. It wasn't just a gut feeling.
No, not just an emotional dad thing. He saw actual evidence of deception. The sources really emphasized that the entire Sophia adoption process felt, quote, dodgy, especially, and this is key, because Sophia had already been caught lying about the baby's gender.
Right. And if you're lying about something that fundamental.
Like the gender of a newborn, something easily verifiable.
Yeah. It just blows up the credibility of the entire story around that child's identity.
Brady's logic there is just rock solid. If she's lying about that, what else is she lying about? Probably everything, right? Paternity, the child's identity, the works.
So the moment that DNA test comes back negative for Tate.
Huge relief for Tate. Massive.
Immense relief, yeah.
Yeah.
But for Brady, knowing Tate's in the clear isn't the finish line. Not even close.
Nope. His goal immediately pivots. Okay, Tate's not the dad. But was Sophia lying about everything? Is this baby even hers?
That's the next critical question, isn't it?
It's the essential next phase. The logical step, and honestly the legally crucial one now, is to test Tesoro's DNA against Sophia's.
Because if Tesoro is Sophia's baby, just not Tate's,
then the baby Rafe is fostering is simply the result of Sophia's, other activities.
And that confirmation would finally give Tate that total, definitive peace of mind. At least about this specific child in Salem.
It frees him completely from that particular obligation, that cloud.
But Brady's motivation here, it feels like it's twofold, right?
I think so, yeah. Confirming Tesoro's identity lets them close this chapter, give Tate peace. But think about this. What if Tesoro is neither Tate's nor Sophia's?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Then Sophia's pulled off something even more audacious, like monumental deception. And then the search has to begin for Tate's actual biological child, wherever they might be, possibly relinquished in some other equally sketchy scenario.
So Brady needs to solve the Tesoro mystery first. He has to know if he needs to widen the search or if this is, well, contained to Sophia's lies about this specific baby.
Exactly, which is why they took those initial investigative steps even before this latest DNA result.
Right, Brady and Steve Johnson, Salem's go-to PI team, basically.
Seasoned pros. They already suspected that the baby Sophia actually gave birth to and Tesoro might be the same child. They just needed that genetic proof.
And that's why they needed help on the inside.
Yep, they looped in Raif Hernandez, and he's got skin in the game, obviously, because he's fostering the little guy.
With help from Gabi, Leo Stark, Javi. It's a full house over there.
Right, and Raif really stuck his neck out for them, didn't he? Swabbing the baby's cheek to get that first DNA sample for the Tate test.
The fact that so many people were willing to bend the rules, it just underlines how serious they thought Sophia's deception might be.
It really does. So once that test cleared Tate, everything shifted. It became crystal clear that the deception originated entirely with Sophia, if she lied about the father.
She almost certainly lied about everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where it gets, like you said, really interesting. And maybe kind of unsettling.
Definitely unsettling.
We have to try and understand Sophia Choi. What drives someone to orchestrate this kind of monumental mess, to hide the truth, and maybe even enjoy the chaos?
Well, the sources we looked at are remarkably consistent on her profile. It all seems to boil down to this obsessive, single-minded desire to be with Tate Black. And her methods, they've just become increasingly dangerous, calculated.
To the point where she's earned this comparison, which is pretty chilling. They call her a Jan Spears wannabe.
Oof. Yeah, that comparison lands hard if you know Jan Spears' history in Salem.
It really does. We need to unpack that.
Mm.
Jan Spears wasn't just, a difficult girlfriend. She was a classic soap villain.
Absolutely. Obsession was her whole MO. Using babies to trap men, physical violence, serious psychological manipulation against her rivals, Belle Black especially.
So how does Sophia mirror that template? What's the progression?
Well, you see it escalating. Yan did extreme things, right? Faking deaths, paralysis. Sophia started smaller, maybe. Like tattling on Tate and Holly at junior prom. Calculated, sure, but minor league stuff.
Getting a job at the Brady pub just to be near Tate.
Mm.
Again, calculated, obsessive, but not quite Jan Spears level yet.
Exactly. But the pregnancy, that was the game changer. That elevated her entire strategy, turning her into, well, a potential successor to Jan's playbook.
And the sources point to a specific moment when Sophia's mother refused to let her terminate the pregnancy. That was the pivot point, wasn't it?
Huge pivot. Sophia didn't just, accept it and plan for motherhood. No, she immediately shifted gears. That baby instantly became a tool, a strategic weapon in her campaign for Tate.
That's dark.
It gets darker. The speculation about her thinking is pretty twisted. Like, even when she and Tate were planning to terminate, the sources suggest she might have seen even that shared difficult moment as some kind of bonding experience in her, quote, twisted little brain.
Wow.
So when termination was off the table, the next best thing was using the pregnancy itself to bond with Tate, maybe even trap him. It didn't matter who the biological father actually was.
So the baby was never about being a mother. It was always about Tate.
Always about proximity to Tate. And that malice. It's actively escalating now. The sources flat out say she's getting worse by the day, and her focus has really sharpened onto destroying Holly Jonas.
Her former best friend. Now her ultimate rival for Tate.
Exactly. And we're way past tattling now. We're talking outright assault and serious psychological warfare.
Just spiking Holly's drink.
Deliberately. Spiking her Diet Coke when she was already tipsy, making sure she blacked out. This wasn't some prank gone wrong. It was premeditated, designed to incapacitate her rival.
And she didn't stop there, did she? Well, Holly was blacked out.
Yeah.
Vulnerable.
She took naughty pictures, exploited her state completely.
And then the way she used them, sending them to Johnny DeMera's phone.
The strategy there is key. She didn't send them to Tate directly. She sent them to Johnny. Why?
Because she knew it would destroy any chance Holly had of getting back with Tate. Make Holly seem toxic, unreliable within their social circle.
It's pure collateral damage strategy. Straight out of the villain handbook. The goal is Tate, but anyone perceived as an obstacle, they have to be taken out, decimated.
And it goes beyond Holly. The sources show she also actively worked to sabotage the adoption process for Tesoro, specifically targeting Johnny DiMera and Chanel Dupree.
Right, making sure they couldn't adopt the baby.
Okay, wait. That feels like a detour. If her entire world revolves around Tate, why waste energy going after Johnny and Chanel for something seemingly unrelated?
That's the nature of this kind of obsessive malice, isn't it? It spreads. Her specific motivation there, according to the sources, was payback. To break Johnny and Chanel up, partly, but mainly to punish Johnny because he interfered with an adoption involving her in the past.
Okay, so it's a mix of her current obsession and settling old scores.
Exactly. She sees any interference with her plans, whether those plans involve Tate directly or the baby she's using as leverage as a direct personal attack. And think about it. If she already suspected or knew Aaron was the father all along, then the whole lie about Tate's paternity was just a convenient way to stay relevant to Tate, stay in his orbit, and simultaneously create maximum chaos around her. Stir the pot.
So the whole adoption drama, potentially preventing a loving home for this baby, it was just another pawn in her game.
Collateral damage in her war to keep Tate focused on her and Holly completely out of the picture.
Yeah. The depth of this manipulation.
Yeah.
It's what Brady and Steve are up against now. It's not just a simple lie. Okay, so Tate's cleared. DNA says definitively no. So the investigative spotlight immediately swings, doesn't it? Right onto the strongest alternate theory. Team Aaron Green.
Yeah, that suspicion has been simmering for a while now, hasn't it? It wasn't exactly out of left field. The sources were speculating for months, really, that Sophia probably hit the sheets with Aaron, as they put it, right around the time of conception.
And now that Tate's out, that theory just gets a whole lot stronger.
Way stronger. And there's a very specific, very emotional timeline tied to this potential encounter, isn't there?
There is. The main speculation, the one that feels most plausible given the characters, is that this happened the very same day Tate messed up badly.
The day he called out Holly's name.
While he was in bed with Sophia.
Ouch. Yeah. Huge ouch. That moment would have been absolutely devastating for Sophia, humiliating, a massive emotional betrayal.
You can see how that might push someone to immediately seek comfort or maybe even revenge sex elsewhere.
Totally. And the sources even give us the scene, right? Sophia's emotionally falling apart, stress eating in Hortontown Square.
Classic Salem location for a meltdown.
Isn't it just? And who shows up? Aaron Green, Mr. Nice Guy, who's had this long-standing crush on her forever.
Annie joins her, shares her snacks. A little moment of kindness, maybe connection.
A moment of comfort, exactly.
Okay.
But it escalated quickly from there.
Sophia suggested they ditch the square, go hang out, binge watch Body and Soul.
And that is the suggested moment of conception. You know, whatever Body and Soul actually is, the implication is clear. They went somewhere private.
It represents that shift, doesn't it? From public breakdown to seeking private, intimate comfort. It's a pretty classic rebound response.
Classic rebound, yeah, but one that potentially resulted in this massive, tangled paternity mess.
Okay, but what's really critical here, given everything we know about Sophia, is the potential cover-up. Knowing how calculated she is, there's a very, very high chance she knew all along Aaron was the likely father.
Right. It seems incredibly likely, yeah.
And that she just made the cold, calculated decision to pin it on Tate anyway? To leverage the pregnancy to get closer to him? Because Tate was always the goal.
Exactly. And if Sophia did know the truth from the start, or even just strongly suspected it, well, that explains her frantic maneuvering around the adoption, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, she needed to avoid exposure, right? Avoid the truth about Tate's non-paternity coming out. Her mother wouldn't let her terminate.
So adoption became the quickest way out.
The quickest way to dispose of the biological evidence linking the baby to Aaron while still maintaining the story that this baby, the Firehouse baby, was Tate's.
So the adoption wasn't about finding a good home, it was about covering her tracks.
Pretty much, yeah. It keeps the focus on Tate and the tragedy of the adoption rather than on the actual paternity.
And then there's Aaron himself. His history adds another layer of mystery, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Remember before he left town, went off to Canada to be with his mom, his jailbird mom, as the sources call her.
Yeah, he was acting weird around Tate then, wasn't he?
Super weird. And the sources flag this key detail, this tantalizing loose end. Aaron specifically told Tate, "I have something to tell you."
But they got interrupted.
Yeah.
And he never got it out before leaving town.
Exactly. So what was that secret? Was it about the one-night stand with Sophia? Did he suspect then that she might be pregnant? Or maybe she told him something?
That unanswered question has just been hanging there for months. The burden of that secret.
And now, the dramatic irony kicks in, big time.
He's back. Aaron Green is back in Salem.
And not just back. Get this. He is Tate Black's current roommate in the university dorms.
No way.
Yes way.
Yeah.
The potential biological father is literally sleeping like 20 feet away from the guy who spent months believing he was the father. You can't make this stuff up.
Okay, that is peak soap opera plotting. The tension.
Incredible, right? And it raises the huge question that Brady and Steve must be wrestling with now. Does Aaron know or suspect he's the father?
And if he does, did Sophia manipulate him, threaten him, lie to him to keep him quiet?
If he was acting weird before he left, that secret has been eating at him for months. Imagine the pressure cooker now, living with Tate, knowing what he might know. The guilt must be immense.
But just from a storytelling perspective, a writer's intent.
Yeah.
The sources are really clear on this, and it's important for you listening to grasp this.
Yeah.
Days of Our Lives writers, they don't bring back characters for no reason.
Never, especially not minor characters suddenly thrust into major plots.
Aaron Green isn't just set dressing here. He's not background furniture. He is essentially a loading gun placed in the most dramatically perfect spot.
His return is 100% tied to being a central player in blowing this paternity scandal wide open. It has to be.
And he's grounded there, too. It's not like he can just vanish again easily.
Right. His family anchors him in Salem now. His sisters, Kate Roberts and Felicity Green, they live there. His mom's in a nearby facility.
So he's stuck, embedded.
Pretty much. There's mention his brother Mark might get parole, but whether he actually shows up or just gets mentioned off screen, who knows? But Aaron's right there, in the dorm room.
The stage is absolutely set for a massive confession, isn't it? Driven by that proximity, that guilt.
It could blow Sophia's whole world apart before Brady and Steve even get near her toothbrush.
Okay, let's shift back to the investigators. Brady and Steve. That DNA test clearing Tate?
Yep.
Sure, it's a dead end if you're looking for Brady's grandbaby in this specific child.
Right. A temporary dead end for that particular hope.
But Brady and Steve, they are absolutely not stopping, not even close.
No way. They see that negative test, and it doesn't say case closed. It screams, Sophia's lying even bigger than we thought.
It just highlights all those inconsistencies, those gaping holes in Sophia's story that they already suspected.
And they can't afford to stop. They can't even really slow down, because they're racing against a ticking clock here.
The adoption clock.
Exactly. Their next target is crystal clear. They need Sophia Choi's DNA stat. They have to get 100% confirmation that this baby, Tesoro, has zero biological ties to either Tate or Sophia.
Before that baby is legally adopted. Because once that happens, testing becomes legally almost impossible for them.
That adoption deadline, it's the highest stake right now. Once those papers are signed, finalized by a judge, the child's legal identity is cemented. Trying to get DNA samples after that or challenging the adoption based on fraud, it becomes an incredibly difficult, maybe impossible legal battle.
So the time pressure is immense, which means their tactics are escalating.
Way past just asking questions or hoping for a confession, the sources are speculating they're ready to employ, well, classic spy techniques.
There's two guys with espionage backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
Private investigators who've done some shady stuff for good causes before.
And now they're applying those skills to family drama. We're talking about potentially illegal evidence gathering.
Can we just pause on what that means? Like, the sources are suggesting things like
Snatching a hair off her head, stealing her toothbrush, something she probably wouldn't even notice is gone, finding a used glass she drank from.
wow, okay, that's pretty extreme. Premeditated theft of genetic material.
It's a huge ethical line to cross, but it just shows you how desperate Brady is, how deep his motivation runs. He knows they can't just wait around hoping Sophia, this proven master manipulator, suddenly develops a conscience and confesses.
No, they have to go into full covert ops mode. Evidence collection, now.
The goal is twofold. Either confirm Tesoro is Sophia's child, which proves she lied about Tate being the father, or
Confirmed Tesoro has no link to Sophia either, which cements the fraud about the baby's entire identity. Maybe opens up that search for Tate's real baby.
right. Either way, they need that genetic truth.
And Brady going to these lengths, it really defines him right now, doesn't it? The question isn't if he'll cross lines for his son's peace of mind.
It's how many lines and how far will he go? The answer seems to be whatever it takes. He needs to shut down this Tesoro conundrum definitively.
Before he can even think about looking for another potential baby Tate might have fathered. The evidence has to be gathered now. Well, Tesoro's still in that temporary foster care limbo.
Before the court seals the adoption and makes it all legally untouchable.
Now, the sources do suggest a few different ways this whole thing could finally blow up. It's not all riding on Brady and Steve's spy games.
Right. There are multiple potential triggers here, which is good storytelling. Keeps you guessing.
Path 1 is the investigation route. Steve suggests, hey, let's run one last test on Tesoro. Check his DNA against Sophia's before it's too late.
That's the clean scientific method. Well, clean result, anyway. Obtained through potentially murky means, like that toothbrush.
But then there's the emotional path, the guilt bomb route, which soaps love because it's maximum drama.
That would be Aaron, finally cracking under the pressure, confessing everything to Tate.
Imagine that dorm room confrontation, the roommate confession.
Brutal. Living with Tate, seeing the investigation closing in. It might just be too much for Aaron to handle.
And there's maybe a third path, slightly more indirect.
Yeah, the sources mention Aaron possibly opening up to someone else first, like maybe Ariana Horton, confiding in her about the one-night stand with Sophia.
And then Ariana, or whoever he tells, connects the dots to the baby mystery.
And boom, the truth leaks out sideways. It's a classic way for secrets to unravel in Salem.
But regardless of how it comes out, investigation, confession, third-party leak, Brady and Steve, they're going full steam ahead.
Relentlessly. They have to get that 100% certainty about Tesoro's link, or lack thereof, to Tate and Sophia before that adoption hammer falls.
They need to know the full extent of Sophia's deception. Is Tesoro her son with Aaron? Or did she just grab some random relinquished baby and fabricate this entire story?
It's a fundamental question. And the sources basically conclude with what we all know about these kinds of stories, right?
The truth will out.
The truth will out. Especially in Salem. An elaborate structure built entirely on lies. It just can't stand forever. Not when you have two highly skilled, highly motivated people actively chipping away at the foundations. It always comes out eventually.
Okay, wow. We have covered a lot of ground there. From the initial DNA shockwave right through to potential toothbrush theft.
It's quite the ride.
Let's try and synthesize this. Pull out the key knowledge nuggets, the main takeaways for you from all these sources we've dived into.
Okay, nugget number 1. Absolute certainty now that Tate Black is not the father of baby Tesoro. Huge relief for him, but it immediately shifts the entire focus on to Sophia Choi.
Right, nugget 2. We have confirmation, really, of the terrifying depth of Sophia's manipulation. We see her escalating malice, that chilling Jan Spears wannabe comparison, her physical actions against Holly, and that calculated sabotage of the adoption just to spite Johnny and Chanel. It paints a really dark picture.
Very dark. Nugget 3. The circumstantial evidence pointing towards Aaron Green as the father. It's now overwhelming. It's the leading theory by a mile, fueled by that specific emotionally charged conception timeline.
The rebound after Tate's mistake, yeah.
And of course, the sheer dramatic irony of Aaron returning now and becoming Tate's roommate. That's not accidental.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And finally, nugget 4. We know the investigation by Brady and Steve is ongoing, and it's aggressive. Maybe even borderline illegal.
They're not accepting this dead end. They're preparing to use those covert, high-stakes spy tactics to get Sophia's DNA. They need to know if Tesoro is the child she actually carried, and they need to know before that adoption deadline makes it legally impossible.
So, boiling it all down, what does this all mean for the story moving forward?
Well, it means the investigation has really evolved, hasn't it? It started as a paternity crisis for Tate now. Now it's focused on two much bigger, much more complex questions. First, is Tate's actual biological child still out there somewhere? Did Sophia use a completely different baby in this scheme and relinquish Tate's real child under different fraudulent circumstances?
And the second question.
Second, was Tesoro simply Sophia's baby with Aaron all along? Was he just falsely identified as Tate's purely to fuel her manipulative campaign to win Tate over?
And they have to answer that second question first, don't
Yeah.
they, with absolute certainty, before they can even begin to tackle the first one.
Exactly. The entire investigation now hinges on getting Sophia's DNA and comparing it to Tesoro's. That's the key.
If she is the mother, the lie was strategic, focused on Tate. If she's not.
Then the deception escalates into something else entirely. Pure identity fraud involving a potentially unknown child. Much bigger implications.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So, with all that swirling,
Yeah.
we leave you with our final provocative thought for the day. Think about this. We know Sophia's malicious actions against Holly, her sabotage of the adoption. It was all fundamentally rooted in that obsessive desire to be with Tate. That was the engine driving everything. So what happens to her to her entire elaborate plan. The moment Brady and Steve get that DNA proof, the moment they expose the fact that she lied about the baby's entire identity.
And the moment Tate realizes the terrifying extent she went to, driven purely by her obsession with him.
Right. Could her whole strategy, designed to win his affection, actually be the thing that backfires most spectacularly, the thing that makes him recoil in horror?
It seems almost inevitable, doesn't it? The moment that truth surfaces, her plan implodes, leaving her completely alone to face the consequences of that profound, calculated malice.
A chilling thought to end on.